Now, in the course of our Sheva Brachot, it was important for me that our children are going to take part in this celebration for our congregation and for our community. And Rabbi Foster and our teachers in our religious school are here with our Bessie Hershey Religious School students, and we invite up any of our day school students and other teens and children that are here to join our children with the fourth blessing, which is in our booklets. And I'm going to turn it over to Rabbi Foster.
All right, we're going to take out our giant talit.
You guys want to go on the steps with me? We could have done
May you help us learn. May you help us grow.
May you help us pray.
May you help us create special Jewish memories. May you help us connect to God.
May you teach us Torah.
May you inspire us to love Israel.
May you guide us on our path.
May you bring us together as a community.
Blessed are you, Adonai, Mekor Simcha, source of joy. These children are our future. Just as they stand here and take their place in our chain of tradition, calling out, Hineni, here we are. So too may Rabbi Rudin-Luria guide us as we all respond to your call. May we ever be filled with joy in doing your deeds, from pajama Shabbat services to lulav shake dances, from climbing ropes courses to learning Torah and tradition. May we continue to be inspired by the teaching and leadership of Rabbi Rudin-Luria, and let us say, Amen.
Thank you guys for celebrating with me. I appreciate it. High five.
We're going to stay up. All students are going to stay up here because we're turning to Ein Keloheinu. Oh.
We're back in our Siddur.
We're going to do Kaddish Shalem, followed
Kaddish
by
Shalem.
Ein Keloheinu.
Kaddish Shalem. We'll rise for Kaddish Shalem 203, and then our children lead us 204.
יגנל יגנל שמי רבה, ועמד תברח ירצה וימליך מלכותה, בחייכון מלכון וחיי לכל בית ישראל, בגלה בזמן קריב ואימרו.
אמן יהי שמי רבה.
מברך, לעולם עולם לעלמיה. יתברך ישתבח מפאר ותרומם יתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתעלה שמי לקודשה, וריחו לעילה מכל ברכתה ושירתה, תשבחתה ונחמתה דמירה מלמה ואימרו. אמן תתקבל צלתנו ואתון לכל ישראל, כל דם ובהון דבישמעיה ואימרו. אמן יהי שלום רבה מן שמיה, וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואימרו. אמן עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואימרו. אמן.
Please be seated. Ein Keloheinu bar children 204.
Ein Keloheinu, Ein Keloheinu, Ein Keloheinu, Ein Kemoshrienu, Mi Hamoheinu, Mi
נותן שמיים ועושה הארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינת זו בגובי מרומים, הוא אלוהינו אין עוד, עם אלוקינו אף זולתו, כך כתוב בתורתו, וידעת היום השב אותו אל לבבך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים ממעל, ועל הארץ מתחתינו. ועל כן נקבל לכם אלוהינו רוחים רבתי פרדסך. ככתוב בתורתך אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד.
We can be seated. For some, this is the most important moment of services. Adonai Makor Chaim, O God, source of life, we lovingly remember those whose yard sites are marked on this Shabbat and for the week to come. We remember with love Ida Abraham, Rosalind Abrams Bernstein, Alfred Breen, Leah Davis Cohen, Dr. Yael R. Cohen, David Dietz, Johanna Dreyfus, Myron Fursky, Sadie Fisher, Beverly Galen, Harvey Goodman, Sam Goodstein, Harriet Greenberg, Isidore Gross, Annette Harburger, Rabbi Jack J. Herman, our rabbi, beloved clergy of blessed memory, Mildred Hoffman, Helen Kritzer, David A. Kroll, past president, Marion R. Cruz, Helen Kuman, Albie Kuman, Edith Lieb, Jean Leitner, Rose Newman, Ruth Ellen Potter, Esther Burstein Schneider, Ruth Schwartz, Rella Seven, Erwin R. Siegel, Lillian Steinberg, Johanna Summerfield, Merton H. Walters, Bertha Wasserman, Mixa Wasserman, Max Weinberg, Joan B. Whitehill, and Marvin H. Wolf. We also extend our deepest condolences this Shabbat to the family of Sandra Wager, to Sandra Witt, Lorna Siegel, Lisa Loeb, and their families on the death of their brother and uncle, Edwin Delinsky. And we extend our deepest condolences to Courtney and Jeremy Zelwyn, to Kaylee Zelwyn, to Rana and Robert Zelwyn, to Edria and Bruce Lazarick, to Brooke and Adam Zelwyn, to Michael Zelwyn and Jared Frankel, to Harry Zelwyn, Zahava and Steve Galen, Eileen and Larry Borough, and their families on the death of their son, brother, grandson, nephew, great-nephew, cousin, Cole Samuel Zelwyn. We ask all those in mourning and those observing yahrzeit now to rise if you're able and join together in the words of the Mourner's Kaddish, page 207. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei Rabbah.
Amen.
B'alma divrach hiruteh v'yamlik malchuteh. B'chayecho nuvyomecho nuv'chaye dechol Beit Yisrael. Ba'agala uvizman kari v'yamru Amen. Yehi shmei Rabbah mevorak li'olam olamei omaya. Yitbarak v'yishtabak v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitdaseh. V'yitadar v'yitalev v'yithalal shemei de kudsha brichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechamata da'amiran bi'olama v'yimru. Amen. Yehe Shlomo Rabba min Shemaya, v'chaim aleinu v'yol kol Yisrael v'yimru. Amen. Ose shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu v'yol kol Yisrael v'yimru. Amen. May all those remembered this Shabbat only be remembered with love, and we say amen. Please be seated. We're now going to return to our Sheva Brachot, the 7 moments of blessing for our congregation at this moment. And I'm going to ask for my clergy partners, and in addition to Rabbi Foster and Cantor Rosenbaum, our new assistant rabbi, Rabbi Josh Jacobs, is here. Come on up. We're very grateful Rabbi Jacobs was able to fly in for this moment of celebration for our congregation. We can't wait for you when you and Rabbi Rosenbaum join our congregation. Rabbi Rosenbaum was already in North Carolina for a family wedding, and Rabbi Jacobs stopped off in his new home on his way to the wedding. We're going to ask for an opportunity to bless this moment.
Find yourself a rabbi and acquire a colleague and friend. God, inspire us and Rabbi Rudin-Luria as we lead this congregation. May we continue to collaborate, listen, and learn from each other as we work to serve our community. Imbue him with vision as he directs this congregation on your path. May he lead with ruach, passion, energy, and spirit. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. This is a very special moment for me and for this congregation, and it's my honor to call up one of our co-chairs of this very special weekend and wonderful friends, Rabbi Melinda Mersak and Mark Jacobs.
Shabbat Shalom. Today we gather not only in celebration of Shabbat, but in celebration of this sacred community with Rabbi Rudin-Luria as its leader. We know him as our rabbi, our teacher, our friend. He has helped us celebrate our simchas and supported us through our sorrows. Steadfast, compassionate, and wholehearted, Rabbi Rudin-Luria has carried this community for more than 20 years, and today we honor him. In this week's Torah portion, we read, "You shall have one standard for stranger and citizen alike, for I am Adonai, your God." One standard. Every human, having been created in the image of God, is inherently worthy. Each person must be treated with respect and dignity. And this is one of the things that we love about Rabbi Rudin-Luria. He treats each one of us as a cherished soul. We are equally valued in his eyes, and we are fortunate he continues to make B'nai Yeshurun congregation a place where he and we call our spiritual home.
It is rare to be blessed with a new senior rabbi who has already been leading our community for more than 2 decades. In that time, we have grown together, impacting and shaping each other. Rabbi Rudin-Luria has pushed us forward and preserved our traditions. He realizes our strengths and cheers our successes, and he understands our failings and encourages us when we fall short. This relationship that we already have as rabbi and congregation is a remarkable gift that will allow us to continue adapting and growing, enabling us all to flourish. For Melinda and me, Rabbi Rudin-Luria is more than our rabbi. To us, he's a colleague, a fellow parent, a trusted advisor, and a close friend. In all those aspects, he's embodied those qualities that we've already talked about as a great leader: wisdom, compassion, humor, humility, and a good heart. We know that Rabbi Rudin-Luria has the dedication and love for this community that will help us thrive. So in this moment of change and enthusiasm, we embrace a new beginning. Mazel tov, Rabbi, Hal. We look forward to celebrating with you, working with you, and being inspired by you for many, many years to come.
And now I'm very honored to have Harley Gross speak on behalf of our community and our congregation.
Thank you. Shabbat Shalom. Zeh hayom asa Adonai nagila v'nismechavo. This is the day the Lord has made. Let us exalt and rejoice in it. This installation weekend is a celebration of Rabbi Hal Rudin-Luria's accomplishments and achievements. He joined our synagogue as assistant rabbi in August 2001 and rose to senior rabbi last year. His leadership combines the age-old roles of a rabbi, teacher, educator, spiritual leader, and transmitter of our tradition. He applies our tradition to life's challenges with acknowledging our participation in the contemporary world. Rabbi Hal has cultivated a culture of learning in our synagogue, drawing both from traditional and modern sources. We've benefited from the many scholars that have joined us here. Our rabbi has focused on bringing along the next generation of Jews with numerous initiatives: young family programming, a teen leadership fellowship known as Hineni, and the establishment of The Bridge, a downtown program that has attracted over 300 young adults, with 100 regularly having Shabbat dinners at their various homes. He's revived the tradition of all-night study on Shavuot with the program Tikkun Liel Shavuot, and introduced, along with the cantor, a modern Friday night service, Shir Shabbat, with new melodies and guitar accompaniment. On a personal note, he finally got me to come back to Friday night services because of that. It's great, try it. Rabbi Hal not only designs programs, he personally encourages participation. The foundation for the vibrancy of synagogue life here is the character of our rabbi. He has a good and kind heart and unsurpassed integrity. He possesses the highest trait of Moshe Rabbeinu. His inner workings and outward expressions are one and the same. Nowhere are these gifts better utilized than his intimate sharing of life cycle events: comforter of the mourner, counselor to the bride and groom, and partner in our joyous occasions, to name a few: marriage and birth. I'm truly in awe of his ability to transition among them. His genuine sympathy and interpreter of tradition makes him the sought-after rabbi for these life cycle events. He possesses true humility. I asked him the other day why he prefers to be called Rabbi Hal. His answer was simple and direct: I don't want to be placed above others. Yet this humble, wise, and kind leader has earned our true reverence. May we all be blessed for decades to come as you lead the B'nai Yeshurun. As you lead the B'nai Yeshurun family. Mazel tov.
I'm Rebecca Dorman, president of B'nai Yeshurun Congregation, and for the past year, I have had the honor and privilege of being the first president to lead alongside Rabbi Rudin-Luria as our senior rabbi. It's been quite a year. I was incredibly grateful that he was both my rabbi and my partner in leadership during this time. As president, I had a special vantage point from which to watch as he transitioned into his new leadership role under difficult and extraordinary circumstances with no warning, and he truly hit the ground running, and he's been running ever since. Over the past year, no matter how many issues we were addressing, how many meetings we were in, and there were a lot, but whatever I was doing, he was doing so much more. He works tirelessly on behalf of B'nai Yeshurun, and always with a smile on his face and a calm and steady demeanor. I must admit that at times I've wondered if there's a portrait of him locked in a closet somewhere that has aged and shows the impact of his 22 years as rabbi at B'nai Yeshurun, especially this past year, because he still looks the same as he did when he arrived fresh from the seminary. Rabbi Hal works so hard because he's always thinking of what else he should be doing for B'nai Yeshurun. He is thoughtful not just about the congregation as a whole, but about each congregant individually and what they are facing. From sickness to simchas, he will reach out and let you know that he is thinking of you, to comfort you, to congratulate you, to just be there with you. That's another quality that makes him so special and why we love him so much. At the same time, I know he is inspired and nurtured by all of us who care so much about B'nai Yeshurun, lay leaders, donors, volunteers, staff, his fellow clergy, the entire congregation. He appreciates each person's connection and contribution to B'nai Yeshurun and is quick to say thank you, and you know it's heartfelt. He loves this congregation. Rabbi Hal and I share great admiration for Rabbi Lord Jonathan Sachs, Zichrono Livracha, who has outlined 7 qualities of Jewish leadership. Not of Jewish leaders per se, but how to lead in a Jewish way. I think Rabbi Rudin-Luria possesses all of these qualities, but I only want to mention one today. You were worried, weren't you? Okay, being future-oriented. As a great Jewish leader, Rabbi Hal has created a vision for our collective future as a congregation, a future filled with hope and innovation, but always grounded in the traditions and values that have kept our congregation strong for 156 years. But having that vision is only the beginning, and it's not enough. Equally important, he is able to communicate that vision to us in a way that generates excitement and support for the vision. Finally, he's creating the roadmap that we will follow as he leads us into the exciting future. I'll miss sitting next to him on the bima, our regular weekly meetings, not to mention the calls, emails, and texts between meetings, some at 6 a.m., some at midnight. Remember how hard he works. But I'll look forward, as we all do, to follow him, to supporting him, partnering with him on that road into our future as he leads B'nai Yeshurun as our beloved senior rabbi for many years to come. Mazel Tov, Senior Rabbi Hal Rudin-Luria, may you go from strength to strength, and where you go, we will follow.
Thank you, Rebecca. I do have a response later, but that's later, not much later. I'm right after our guest scholar and guest speaker. I'm very grateful that Rabbi Matt Berkowitz flew in from Yerushalayim, from Jerusalem, to be here. I have somewhere else where I had prepared remarks to say something about you, but what I'll say is this. From when I began in rabbinical school in New York, I've always looked up to Rabbi Berkowitz. He was several years ahead of me in rabbinical school, and he served as a mentor and someone that I wanted to model my life after in my rabbinate. Rabbi Berkowitz didn't take a pulpit, he went into other work, and now he is in Jerusalem as a leading voice for conservative Judaism in Israel, and has just accepted a position as the vice president of the Schechter Institute, which is the conservative movement in Israel. I'm very proud to call you a friend. He is a teacher, a scholar, and an artist, someone who finds different ways to express Judaism and to engage many people in all different ways. It's my honor that you flew in from Yerushalayim to come here for my installation and to teach our congregation.
Thank you so much, Rabbi Hal Rudin-Luria, for that gracious, heartfelt introduction. I'm exalted and humbled by your words. Boker Tov and Shabbat Shalom. I want to begin by expressing my heartfelt condolences to the Zelwyn family. Ein milim, there are no words. May God and this extraordinary community of yours comfort you in the coming days and weeks with endless love, and may Cole's memory always be for a blessing. I understand there's another main event going on across the pond. For the record, I want to say that any day I would choose the coronation of Rabbi Hal Rudin-Luria over the coronation of King Charles. That remains with us, by the way. You cannot mention a word about what I just said to my British Israeli wife. She would be horrified. Actually, Nadia, I am sure, Hal would agree with me wholeheartedly. Rabbis Josh Foster, Joshua Jacobs, Alex Rosenbaum, Cantor Rosenbaum, outgoing president Rebecca Dorman, incoming president Scott Matazar, executive director Jay Ross, board members, proud parents Joyce and Marty Luria, and Terry and Stan Rudin, exceedingly proud wife, where is she? Erica, there she is, and glowing sons Jacob and Ari, both represented by Ari here this morning. What an honor and privilege it is to be here celebrating your son, your husband, your father, Rabbi and my dear colleague, Rabbi Hal Rudin-Luria, as he is elevated to the position of senior rabbi of B'nai Yeshurun. I have been mystically and physically transported from one Jerusalem to another. This is indeed a Shechianu moment for me, as this is my first visit to Cleveland. It's probably good that I didn't experience Cleveland 14 years ago, because my guess is I would have made Aliyah to this very special place rather than the state of Israel. Thank you for the gift of being a part of this community for this inspiring Shabbat weekend. At this moment of the Jewish calendar, we find ourselves in the 30th day of the counting of the Omer, that period between Pesach and Shavuot in which we count the days leading up to the blessing of receiving Torah, that moment of Sinai. Though it is a period of certainty in the Jewish calendar that we recognize through our counting of days and the passage of this time, it is also a period of great uncertainty in the land of Israel. And that is reflected by the climate and the weather that we experience this time of year as we transition from winter to summer. And of course, that turbulence has been reflected both in the political and security challenges over the past few months. Most strikingly, I believe this time in the Jewish calendar teaches us about the most important quality of leadership, and that is humility. How fitting it is that this week's Parsha, Parshat Emor, reinforces that message as it teaches us volumes about priests, produce, and leadership. Emor opens with specific instructions to the Kohanim, to the priests, regarding their behavior toward the Israelites. In Leviticus 21, verses 1 to 2, we are told the Lord spoke to Moses, "Speak to Aaron and his sons, that they must be scrupulous in their behavior with the Israelites as they receive sacred donations from the Israelites and consecrate those donations to me, lest they profane my holy name, mine, the Lord's. Vayidaber Adonai el Moshe lemor, daber el Aaron ve'el banav, vayinazru mikodshei bnei Israel, ve'lo yechalalu et shem kodshi, asher hem makdishim li, ani Adonai." What exactly does this word vayinazru, which is often translated as scrupulous, mean? The JPS Torah commentary acknowledges, quote, "The Hebrew is unusual." And a more literal translation of the verse would read, quote, "Instruct Aaron and his sons to separate themselves from the sacred donations of the Israelite people, which they consecrate to me," unquote. Rashi, the prolific medieval commentator, writes, "Ein nizira ele prisha," which is to say that during the time of ritual impurity, Torah is instructing the priests to remain separate from the Israelites and to keep their distance from sacred donations. Ibn Ezra argues that it is a command that they should be separate and distinct. He latches on to the word nazir, to the root nazir, as in biblical Nazirite, that the priests should separate themselves and regard themselves as distinct. Yet I believe that it is the 19th century commentator, Rabbi Shimshon Raphael Hirsch, who provides the most convincing and compelling explanation. He writes the following: "The basic meaning of Nazir definitely has the idea of exclusion from some sphere. The command that they keep themselves apart from the hallowed things of the children of Israel accordingly makes the demand to the Kohanim that they are not to consider themselves simply unconditionally entitled to the holy things which are handed over to them by the people. There are times when they have to consider themselves excluded from them, to stand as strangers, zarim, towards them, and may neither deal with them for the sacrificial service nor eat them." Taken collectively, these three comments teach us the essence of true leadership. Rashi, for his part, recognizes that it is about humanity, that there are times when a leader must stand separately and be apart to tend to his or her own spiritual needs. For Ibn Ezra, it is about holiness, recognizing that priests, leaders, rabbis are klei kodesh. They are precious, holy vessels who must embrace their apartness. And for Hirsch, it is about humility, reminding leaders that they must approach their work with great humility. Humanity, holiness, and humility all are indispensable to what it is to be a worthy leader among the Jewish people. Above all, it is that sense of humility of which Hirsch speaks that is central to leadership, and this is powerfully reflected in the counting of the Omer. We read of this mitzvah in our parsha, and from the day on which you bring the sheaf of elevation offering, the day after the Sabbath, you will count off 7 weeks. They must be complete. You must count until the day after the 7th week, 50 days. Then you will bring an offering of new grain, mincha chadasha, to the Lord. Usfartem lechem mimochat hashabat miyom heviachem et omer hatnufa sheva shabbatot mimot tiena ad mimochrat hashabat hashvi'it tisperu chamishim yom v'hikravtem mincha chadasha ladonai. The Talmud in Bava Batra teaches about the unstable and unpredictable winds that blow through the land of Israel this time of year. The northern wind is beneficial to wheat when it has reached a third of its ripening and is damaging to olive trees when they have blossomed. The southern wind is damaging to wheat when it has reached a third of its ripening and is beneficial to olives when they have blossomed. Ruach tzfonit yafa lechitim b'sha'a she'eviu shlish v'kasha lezeitim b'sha'a she'yanetzu. V'ruach dromit kasha lechitim b'sha'a she'eviu shlish v'yafe lezeitim b'sha'a she'yanetzu. Noga HaReuveni, the founder of Neot Kedumim, the Biblical Landscape Reserve in Israel, explains further, quote, there is a climactic phenomenon prevailing in the land of Israel during the 50 days between Passover and Shavuot. On the one hand, the cold northern winds and rain. On the other, the scorching heat of the southern wind, also known in Arabic as chamsin, derived from the Hebrew chamishim, meaning 50. Each of these 50 days can bring great blessing to the people of Israel or can bring utter destruction. It was natural for the farmers of the land of Israel to count off each day with great trepidation and with prayers for surviving these 50 precarious days without crop damage. Release from the apprehension and tension expressed in the offering of new grain from the just harvested wheat comes only at the end of the counting of the Omer, unquote. B'nai Yeshurun, like the Omer Tnufa of old, the elevation of a sheaf of barley, today we elevate Rabbi Hal Rudin-Luria to senior rabbi. Rabbi Hal Rudin-Luria grew up in Monmouth County, New Jersey, the same corner of the world that I had the privilege of growing up in. Your rabbi and teacher shared with me that by all accounts, he was supposed to be a doctor. Thankfully, due to his fear of blood and organic chemistry, and much to the chagrin of his dear parents, his life took a very different turn. Between his sophomore and junior years at the University of Pennsylvania, Rabbi Hal took his first trip to Israel, and there he studied at the Hebrew University of Jerusalem. He shared with me that he uncovered an inner passion for Israel, Torah, and the Jewish people. Rabbi Hal spoke so beautifully from the heart, as he always does, and he said the following, quote, I felt different, felt connected, and in that moment, felt like I had never felt before, unquote. That inner love and passion led him to none other than the Jewish Theological Seminary, where he became a rabbinical student, ayef v'yagea b'Torah, immersed in the love and study of Torah. Rabbi Joel Roth, one of the luminaries of the conservative movement and one of Rabbi Rudin-Luria's favorite teachers at the seminary, shared with me the following. Though now more than 20 years have passed since Hal Rudin-Luria's ordination, I remember him well as a dedicated student, committed to the authority of Jewish law, and always interested in spreading its observance to conservative Jews. I have in my email questions that he has sent to me with some regularity since at least 2010, not to mention a few phone calls. That Hal became one of the get-writers for the conservative movement speaks volumes about him. I wish him great achievement and great happiness as the senior rabbi of B'nai Yeshurun, and I wish B'nai Yeshurun deep understanding of how lucky they are to have him as their senior rabbi. On ordination, Rabbi Hal and Erica had their choice of Charlotte, Palo Alto, Westchester, and Cleveland. For Rabbi Hal and Erica, the decision was clear. Based on remarkable people, a close sense of community, and the professional opportunities. And thankfully for this community, he and Erica and you made the right decision. As a younger rabbi, when he first came, Hal shared with me how deeply touched he was to have such special mentors here in Rabbi Stanley Schachter and Michael Hecht, two rabbis emeriti that took this talented ordainee of JTS and nurtured him along the way. Today, Rabbi Hal delights and takes such pride in this congregation of over 900 families and marvels at the fact that he is now officiating at the weddings of kids with whom he celebrated B'nai Mitzvah. Hal, a couple of days ago, I received a very special missive from another one of your favorite teachers at the seminary. Quote, to my esteemed student and colleague, my Talmid Chaver, Rabbi Hal Rudin-Luria. I share in your joy as you are installed as the senior rabbi of B'nai Yeshurun. You have served Klal Yisrael in innumerable ways, serving not only in the pulpit, but also as a chaplain, grief counselor, and addiction counselor, ministering to those who need refuat hanefesh, spiritual healing, and those who need refuat haguf, bodily healing. May it be God's will that you bring to your congregation Torat Chesed, the Torah of loving kindness, and lead them forward to Ora, Simcha, Sason, Vikar, light, joy, gladness, and honor. And may you realize the hope that you expressed in your Rosh Hashanah sermon of 5782, that you and your congregants travel even higher together, le'ela, le'ela, wishing you every success with affection, your teacher, Eliezer Diamond. When Moses, concerned about his successor, speaks to God in the book of Numbers, he says, quote, let the Lord, source of the breath of all flesh, appoint someone over the community who will go out before them and come in before them, and will take them out and bring them in, so that the Lord's community may not be like sheep that have no shepherd. Yifkod Adonai Elohei Aruchot l'chol basar ish al ha'edah, asher yitzei lifnehem, ve'asher yavo lifnehem, ve'asher yotzi'em v'yaviem, ve'lo tieh adat Adonai ketzon asher ein lahem ro'eh. B'nai Yeshurun, you have a magnificent shepherd. After 22 years of devoted service to this congregation, this is an Eit Ratzon, an auspicious moment. I am certain that Rabbi Rudin-Luria will continue leading this community with the values reflected and nurtured by Parshat Emor and the counting of the Omer. Deep humanity, unbounded holiness, and his signature humility. May we all merit to continue rejoicing in his leadership of B'nai Yeshurun and the Jewish world entire. Shabbat Shalom. I just said to Rabbi Rudin-Luria, I'm not done yet. I have a special presentation that I want to make to Rabbi Rudin-Luria. And I understand it's behind your chair. As many of you know, I spent 7 years of my life devoted to the holy work of creating a new Passover Haggadah. And I wanted to bring something special to you, Hal, that marks this occasion. And so I brought truly my favorite piece, my favorite print of the 27 illuminations that I created. This is a print that's inspired by the story of Choni HaMe'agel, Choni the circle drawer, and this is my illumination that is connected to Lashana Haba B'Yerushalayim, next year in Jerusalem, or as we say in Jerusalem, next year in a rebuilt Jerusalem. The story that's told of Choni is that he sees an elderly man planting a carob tree, a sapling. And he criticizes the elderly man, says, "Fool, what are you planting this sapling for? You will never live to eat of his fruits." And his response is, "Others planted for me, and now I plant for future generations." This is precisely the message that Rabbi Rudin-Luria shared with us last night. This is a new beginning. Rabbi Rudin-Luria is planting for future generations. As I give this to you, Hal, I know that it cannot be in better hands. I want to say, Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha, Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'kuneka, Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. May God bless you and keep you. May God spread God's light over you. And may God cause his countenance to shine upon you always. May you continue to walk in the ways of blessing, of humility, and kindness. And together we say, Amen.
I'm overwhelmed. I am deeply honored to be B'nai Yeshurun's senior rabbi, and I really see today not as a celebration of me, but a celebration of us, of the community that we are, and the community that we can be. Committed, strong, vibrant, inclusive, dynamic, kind, and inspired. Built on a strong foundation of more than 150 years with today more than 900 families, excited for where we are going and where we are growing, whether it's downtown through the bridge, our wellness center, our commitment to learning, caring, building community, and healing, to serve our diverse community, to be there for everyone in all ages and all stages. We're a community that is values-driven, whose mission is to infuse our rich Jewish heritage, tradition, wisdom, and learning into all of our lives in so many ways, to build connection and community in this world which seems more divided than ever, to dare to imagine a world and community that is better and strive to make it so. A synagogue in Hebrew is called Beit Knesset, a home, a place of gathering and ingathering, where we are welcoming, warm, come as you are, and at the same time, inspiring growth. Together, we are engaged in the sacred building project, and it's my home that our synagogue becomes a second home to all, a place for connection, for strength, for joy, for fun and creativity, for compassion and for healing, a place to mourn and to celebrate, to learn and to challenge, to repair and to build, a Beit Tefillah and a Beit Midrash, a place to pray and learn together. A home that's built on shared intentional values, chesed, kindness, integrity, resilience, and openness, with a commitment to learning, to Eretz Yisrael, to Israel, and our greater Cleveland community. I was thinking back. There are so many memories in 22 years. Thinking back to the time before you could just open up some piece of electronics and stream, when I was running our young couples or young professionals group, and in the Abraham family sukkah, we wanted to show an episode of Friends. This was before you could just put a TV out there and, connect magically to the internet. And I called Sid Cohen, and he took the satellite dish from his RV, he undid it, and we ran a cable line, 600 feet, I don't know where we got that cable from, and somehow we were able to gather people together, congregants together, so that they could watch Friends and they could be friends. And there's so many memories from these 22 years where I think about the community that we built together. It wasn't me, it was us together. Another one of those memories, this was from my first year as assistant rabbi, happened in Great Geauga County, in the middle of the woods. We were on a ropes course. It was our confirmation retreat. Barbara Rosenfeld, Gary Oken, our longtime confirmation teacher, and a bunch of teenagers, about 20 or 30 of them, in a challenging ropes course with the goal of learning teamwork, identifying individual strengths of each classmate, and of course through a Jewish lens, as we were imagining that we were marching and making our way through the wilderness to Eretz Yisrael. We crossed narrow bridges. We fit 15 students on a teetering little island that had to balance or you fall off and you were gone. We did trust falls and blindfolded walks through trees. Kids were running into trees. We crossed high wire lines. Each time we were supporting and encouraging and protecting and building trust, identifying our vulnerabilities and our strengths. And then we came to the final challenge, the 12-foot wall. I really thought it was 20 feet, but I think it was 12 feet. We all had to climb over this wall. There was no rope, there was no ladder, there was no staircase, there was no elevator. It was just a wall. The ground was muddy. We were all covered in muck. Hot chocolate, thankfully, was waiting for us in the large, but we had to cross that wall. How were we going to rise to that occasion, to cross this obstacle? After a few minutes of team discussion, I could see the teenagers had identified who were the planners, who were the leaders, who were the schleppers. They identified the strength of each member of their class, and pretty soon they devised a system. We began hoisting each teenager one by one up and over the wall, figuring out who would be the base and who would be the foundation, who would stay on the ground and who would lift others up, who would climb to the top to reach with their hands down to lift up others. That seemingly impassable wall, slippery and mud-covered, 12 feet or 20 feet, depending on how you want to see it, became a defining moment that no matter the challenge, we could all rise to the occasion because we were a team, a community, a family, and a congregation. I remember being one of those foundational people, literally getting stepped on by every teenager and helping to push them up when somehow they were on top of my neck or my shoulders or something. With only still a few of us on the ground, most had already ascended to the top of the wall. It was my turn. There was still a strong base for me. Someone supported me and lifted me up, and many hands of those teenagers were reaching over the wall. Suddenly, I stepped up, and I was lifted up by others. I got to the top with the help of so many others. And that's our synagogue. That's why we're here. That's who we are. Our congregational family, the spiritual home that we are building together, where we lift each other up, we support each other, we inspire each other, we can see further, we can dream together. There's a verse in our Torah portion which says, "V'kidashto ki et lechem Elohecha hu makriv kadosh yelach." You must treat them as holy. They shall be holy for you. Like Rabbi Berkowitz said, this portion is about the priests. Now, the priests really were sort of the proto-rabbis, the first rabbis. And if you read our Eitz Chaim Chumash's commentary on that verse, it says this. This verse is about rabbis and cantors and how they are holy. But then it says this. Rabbis and cantors are no different than any other Jews. They don't have special powers. No obligations devolve from them that don't apply to any other Jews. You can have 10 shoemakers that make a minyan, but if you have 9 rabbis, you don't have a minyan. Because they are instruments of holiness. They are only holy by their knowledge, their teaching, their life, their character, and the commitments that they live by. I'd like to bring a second commentary, and that is the Sfat Emet, who comments on the spiritual elevation of the Jewish people in the Torah. Here, the high priest, as I said, perhaps the original senior rabbi of Israel, it says, their holiness depends only on the holiness of the people that they lead. The Sfat Emet says this, when the people that a rabbi or a priest leads take on holiness themselves, they add strength to the one who has been designated to be their leader. The high priest could only be the high priest if other people step up and take on holiness as well. And that's the same for us. When we work together, when we partner and lift each other up, we are interconnected because our mission is aligned. When our hearts are focused on the same goal, when our ideals and values and our commitments are united, then and only then can I be successful as the senior rabbi of this congregation, and we can be successful by leading B'nai Yeshurun together. Thank you to all of you. Our synagogue is incredible. Our volunteers, our staff, our clergy, our leadership. Each of you is so special to me, and you make our synagogue and our community what it is. You help lead our shul, all of you, every single one of you. And those that are watching remotely, or will be watching tomorrow or whenever, you do it too. Our congregation and our family, our home, we build it together. Last night, those of you who were at Shabbat dinner, I had the opportunity to thank many people who have supported me and your commitment to the B'nai Yeshurun over the 22 years I've been here. I wish I could thank each and every one of you personally from the Bima today, but we all want to eat lunch. And I'll repeat, I said many thank yous yesterday, so I'll just say a few today. Thank you to my installation co-chairs, Rabbi Melinda Mersak and Mark Jacobs, Allison and Jason Wooliger, Cindy and Louis Chayton, who worked tirelessly with our program and membership director, Shani Kadis, along with our president, Rebecca Dorman, and incoming president, Scott Matazar, to arrange an incredible weekend. I'd like to personally thank all of the honorary co-chairs for all that you do for me, for our congregation, and for this weekend. Thank you so much. To our president, Rebecca Dorman, I said this last night, and I will say a lot more tomorrow night as you finish your term. Thank you for your partnership, for your leadership during an incredibly challenging time. And we can't wait to celebrate you tomorrow night at our annual meeting. And to our incoming president, Scott Matazar, I am so excited for your leadership as we build on our strong foundation and also our friendship together. The past presidents of our congregation have been an invaluable resource to me, an advisor and confidants, those that I worked with directly beginning under Debbie Botnick's term when I started, and those who have been so essential in my growth and leadership of our congregation. You have built this synagogue, you've helped build me and my leadership here, building this home. I want to thank Michael Linden, who was my search committee chair, who met me in New York City in 2001 to begin to explain this place, Cleveland, Ohio, and to help us land here in Pepper Pike. This past year has been a year of resilience and also a year of growth and plenty. A set of leaders have stepped up largely behind the scenes to help carry us to the thriving place we are today. 900 families strong, growing young couples, building downtown community, creating a wellness center. I want to personally thank, and again, I wish I could thank everyone, but in particular, Harley Gross, Steve Hoffman, and Alan Gottlieb. I want to thank you for ensuring our growth and our future. Thank you for your commitment to our community, your counsel, support, and belief in what we can build here together. You've inspired so many to step up this year, and I am eternally grateful to you. Last night, I thanked our staff family. I thanked our my clergy partners, Cantor Rosenbaum and Rabbi Foster, Rabbi Jacobs, our new assistant rabbi. Can't wait for you and Rabbi Alex to join us. Thank you to Rabbi Matt Berkowitz for coming here. I thanked my family last night, my parents and Erica's parents for being here, and most importantly, for always being there. To our children, Ari and Jacob. Jacob is still in St. Louis. He has a final tomorrow on Sunday, so he couldn't be here. But thank you for just being you. And in case anyone is wondering, Ari passed his driver's test, if you remember that sermon, and we are so proud of you. To Erica, I would not be who I am without you. I could not accomplish what I do, be the rabbi that I am, and support this congregation without your love, encouragement, advice, and support. Thank you. Rabbi Lord Jonathan Sachs of blessed memory is one of my rabbis, as Rebecca said, and his teachings continue to inspire me. At his installation, as Chief Rabbi of the United Kingdom and Great Britain, not B'nai Yeshurun. B'nai Yeshurun is definitely a better installation. He spoke about the teaching from the Mishnah from Pirkei Avot, which says this: know from where you come and know to where you are going. That to be a visionary community with a shared mission, we must look backward and forward at the same time. I pledge to this congregation to work in strengthening our deep roots, our foundation, our core and our core values, to dare to dream where our community can go and grow, and we will do that all together. Rabbi Sachs said this in his closing remarks, and I will echo my teacher and rabbi quote: I approach my task with open eyes. I will make mistakes, but I will learn from them. I will never give up or despair. It's not up to us to complete the task, neither are we free to desist from it. Together, we have great things to do. I couldn't agree more. Today, we celebrate B'nai Yeshurun, where we have come from, where we are, and where we can go. Together, we have great things to do. Thank you for the honor to be your senior rabbi. Shabbat Shalom. If you will honor me as we continue the Shabbat Brachot, stay standing, for there is a blessing for our entire congregation to mark this moment. Page 6 of the unnumbered pages in our pamphlet. Please join in blessing number 6, our congregational blessing for this moment.
Na'aseh v'nishma, we will do and we will hear. At Mount Sinai, our ancestors pledged these words, standing together as one. Today, we stand as one congregation, pledging solidarity, support, and strength with blessings for our senior rabbi. As Rabbi Rudin-Luria has devoted himself to our congregation, may we too be present in our devotion to you. From officiating at our milestones, counseling, comforting, celebrating, teaching, inspiring, guiding our Israel trips and mitzvah work, Rabbi Rudin-Luria has been an integral part of our lives. May Rabbi Rudin-Luria lead us as senior rabbi with compassion, integrity, courage, and joy, and may he find meaning and fulfillment in his service to us and you. Amen.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam שהחיינו וקימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה. Amen. Blessed are you, Lord our God, ruler of the universe, who has kept us alive, sustained us, and brought us to this season. Ready? Yeah. Sing and tell them.